Lesson 26. The Jester and the King. For many years Matenko had been the jester of King Jan, entertaining the king and his court with jokes, tricks and funny faces. But now Matenko was growing old, and people no longer laughed at his jokes. Finally, King Jan decided that he must get a new court jester. He called Matenko and said, "The queen and I are very sorry, Matenko, but you are getting old. It is time for you to retire. Take this purse of gold and go and live peacefully in your little cottage." Matenko was heartbroken. Sadly, he and his wife Wanda went to live in their humble cottage. Soon they had almost no money left. "How can I earn a living?" wondered Matenko. He looked for work in the village, but the only jobs to be had were sweeping floors, digging ditches or collecting potatoes, and his health was too bad to allow him to do any of these. At last the two old people were starving. Then suddenly, Matenko had an idea. "Wait, there is just one chance that we may not have to starve. Wanda, my good wife, trust me and do just as I tell you." Then Matenko explained his plan to her. That very evening Wanda chopped a raw onion so that tears ran down her wrinkled cheeks. Then she went to the palace to see the queen. "Your Majesty," Wanda sobbed, "my poor Matenko is dead." The queen felt very sorry indeed for the poor old woman, and gave her a purse full of gold coins to pay for the funeral and to buy food for herself. Still sobbing, Wanda thanked the good queen and came home. "We have 50 gold pieces," cried Matenko in delight. The first thing the next day that Matenko did was to chop a raw onion and go to see the king. "Your Majesty," he sobbed, "my poor old wife is dead." The king felt sorry for him and gave him a purse of gold before sending him home. "Horror!" cried Matenko when he reached home and counted out 200 gold pieces from the king's purse. "Now we have a little fortune." Then he set out to complete the rest of his plan. On the sideboard in their little cottage he set 2 big, lighted funeral candles, and beside them he laid the 2 purses with all the gold pieces still in them. Then he told Wanda to lie down on the floor. "Cross your arms over your chest, and don't move. You must pretend to be dead," he told her. He covered her from head to foot with a white sheet. Then he lay down beside her, covered himself with another white sheet, and crossed his arms over his chest. And so they lay and waited. In the meantime, as soon as Matenko had left the palace with the purse of coins, the king hurried to his wife's chamber to tell her that the old jester's wife had died. "But my dear, you must be mistaken," said the queen. "It is the jester, not the jester's wife, who is dead." Then they began to quarrel as to which of them was right. "Let us go and see who is dead," suggested the queen at last. So they ordered their carriage and drove to the jester's cottage. When they knocked and walked into the little cottage they found the candles lit, their purses on the sideboard, and the 2 old people covered with white sheets. Obviously Matenko and Wanda were both dead. "But which of them died first?" asked the queen. "It must have been Matenko." "No, it must have been Wanda," said the king. They began to quarrel again, when Matenko jumped up from under his sheet and said, "Your Majesty, my wife died first, but I was dead before her." "You old rascal!" laughed the king and the queen at the same time, too glad to find the old couple still alive to be really angry. When they tearfully explained that they had pretended to be dead because they had been starving, the king and the queen felt ashamed. They promised to send money to Matenko and Wanda whenever they needed it. The old jester and his wife lived comfortably for many years. Every now and then Matenko used to say happily to Wanda, "You see, my dear, even an old jester can sometimes play a clever trick." Adapted from The Jester and the King, a Polish story, retold by Michael Rosen, A. Read the passage carefully and then answer the following questions in your own words as far as possible. 1. Why could Matenko not get a job? Answer. Matenko could not get a job, for the only ones he could get were those of sweeping floors, digging ditches or collecting potatoes, and his health was so bad that he could not do any of them. 2. Describe Wanda's visit to the Queen. Answer. Just as Matenko had planned, one evening Wanda chopped an onion so that tears ran down her wrinkled cheeks. She then went to see the Queen and, sobbing all the time, told her that Matenko was dead. The Queen naturally felt very sorry for her, an old woman, and so, she gave her a purse full of gold coins to pay for the funeral and to buy some food for herself. Still crying, Wanda came back home. 3. What did Matenko tell the king and what did he receive from him? Answer. The next day, Matenko chopped an onion so that tears ran down his cheek, and then went to see the king. He sobbed and told the king that Wanda was dead. The king felt sorry for him and gave him a purse full of gold coins before sending him home. 4. Describe the preparations Matenko made for the expected visit of the king and queen to his cottage. Answer. Matenko knew that the king and the queen would come to their cottage to make sure who was dead, Matenko or Wanda. He prepared for this visit by lighting 2 funeral candles and putting them on the sideboard. He put the 2 purses with all the gold coins in them beside the candles. Then he told Wanda to lie down on the floor and cross her arms over her chest. He told her to pretend to be dead and lie still. He then covered her with a white sheet. After that he also lay down beside her, covered himself with a white sheet, and crossed his arms over his chest and pretended to be dead. They lay like this and waited for the king and the queen. 5. Why did a quarrel break out between the king and queen when they saw the dead bodies? Answer. A quarrel broke out between the king and the queen when they saw the dead bodies of Matenko and Wanda because the queen was sure that Matenko had died first, while the king was certain that it was Wanda who had died before Matenko. 6. What did Matenko do in the middle of the quarrel? Answer. In the middle of the quarrel between the king and the queen, Matenko jumped up from under his white sheet, and said that Wanda had died first, but he was dead before her. In this way he pleased both the king and the queen, for what he said meant that both were right and none was wrong. 7. Why were the king and queen not really angry with the couple? Answer. The king and queen realized what Matenko was up to, and they both laughed. They were not really angry with the old couple because they were only too glad to find them both alive. 8. Why did the king and the queen feel ashamed? Answer. The king and the queen felt ashamed for they realized that it was because of them that the old couple were starving and had to play this trick on them. They promised to send money to Matenko and Wanda whenever they needed it. B. Match each of the words with its meaning by ticking the correct alternative. 1. Cot. A. The king, queen, their family, and the people who work for them or give advice to them. B. Polite, respectful. C. A woolen garment. Answer. A. The king, queen, their family, and the people who work for them or give advice to them. 2. Heartbroken. A. A serious medical condition. B. The movement or sound of the heart. C. Extremely sad because of something that has happened. Answer. C. Extremely sad because of something that has happened. 3. Humble. A. Exciting or impressive. B. Small, simple, and not special in any way. C. Luxurious and large. Answer. B. Small, simple, and not special in any way. 4. Chopped. A. Fried with meat or vegetables. B. Cut into small pieces. C. Slapped. Answer. B. Cut into small pieces. 5. Wrinkled. A. Lines or small folds of the skin, especially around the face, formed when one grows older. B. Shining. C. Twisted and squeezed. Answer. A. Lines or small folds of the skin, especially around the face, formed when one grows older. 6. Funeral. A. A train that goes through a tunnel. B. A state of fear or anxiety. C. A ceremony, usually religious, for burying or cremating a dead person. Answer. C. A ceremony, usually religious, for burying or cremating a dead person. 7. Fortune. A. A large amount of money. B. A medium for cooking. C. A power to tell the future. Answer. A. A large amount of money. 8. Sideboard. A. A blackboard on one side of the room. B. A piece of furniture in the dining room for putting food on before it is served. C. A salad served with the main meal. Answer. B. A piece of furniture in the dining room. 9. Chamber. A. A bedroom or private room. B. Classical music. C. A woman who cleans bedrooms. Answer. A. A bedroom or private room. 10. Rascal. A. A clever person. B. A mischievous or cheeky person. C. A very sad person. Answer. B. A mischievous or cheeky person. C. Say of what kind each of the underlined phrases and clauses is. 1. Matenko was a jester, entertaining the king and his court with jokes. Answer. Adjective phrase, qualifies jester. 2. That very evening Wanda chopped a raw onion. Answer. Adverb phrase of time. 3. The queen felt very sorry for the old woman and gave her a purse full of gold coins. Answer. Coordinate clauses joined by the conjunction and. 4. When they walked into the cottage, they found the two old people covered with white sheets. Answer. Subordinate adverb clause of time, adjective phrase qualifies people. 5. But which of them died first? Asked the queen. Answer. Subordinate noun clause object of the verb asked. D. Change the voice. 1. The king called Matenko to his chamber. Answer. Matenko was called by the king to his chamber. 2. Matenko was asked to retire by the king. Answer. The king asked Matenko to retire. 3. The king gave him a purse of gold. Answer. He was given a purse of gold by the king. 4. Matenko chopped an onion the next morning. Answer. An onion was chopped by Matenko the next morning. 5. Even an old jester can play a clever trick. Answer. A clever trick can be played by even an old jester. E. Fill in the blanks with appropriate prepositions. 1. People no longer laugh his jokes. Answer. At. 2. School is over and it is time us to go home. Answer. 4. 3. The morning, Matenko went see the king. Answer. In. 2. 4. He counted out 50 rupees his purse gave the money to the shopkeeper. Answer. From. 5. When his mother called him, the child jumped up from the blanket. Answer. Under. F. Join each pair of sentences with the conjunction given in brackets. 1. Matenko looked for work. He could not get any, though. Answer. Though Matenko looked for work, he could not get any. 2. Wanda went to the palace. She wanted to see the queen. 4. Answer. Wanda went to the palace for she wanted to see the queen. 3. The king and queen felt ashamed. Matenko and Wanda said that they were starving. When? Answer. When Matenko and Wanda said that they were starving, the king and queen felt ashamed. 4. They had no money. They could not buy any food. Since. Answer. Since they had no money, they could not buy any food. 5. They wanted to go out. They opened the door. Because. Answer. They opened the door because they wanted to go out. G. Turn the following statements into questions by using question tags. 1. The king and queen were kind people. Answer. The king and queen were kind people, weren't they? 2. Let us go to their cottage. Answer. Let us go their cottage, shall we? 3. Matenko was an intelligent jester. Answer.